I've always liked the name Violet.
A general fan favorite moment in Season 2 of Arcane is when we find out that Vander is actually the one that named Vi, that Silco was kind of Jinx's godfather figure, and that they all knew each other before any of this went down. And while at first I too thought that this was really cute and just added a whole nother level of tragedy to the situation, I now believe that it's kind of bullshit. So I'm not sure how many of you know this, but the writing team in between Season 1 and Season 2 changed drastically. They cut a large majority of their writing staff and really didn't put as much time and energy into the script as they did for Season 1. By the end of it, they literally had like 3 writers. It was crazy the amount of people they removed from this team. And what that leaves you with is Season 2 telling a very different story from Season 1 and coming to very different conclusions. During the opening scene of Arcane Season 1, which is one of the best opening scenes of all time, might I add, through the eyes of Violet and Powder, we see Vander, this man who we don't seem to know at this point. There's this no large embrace, there's this no oh my god it's you moment where Violet and Powder run into Vander's arms. Instead we get this beautiful moment where Vander realizes the damage that he has caused and decides to go about this in a different way, seemingly picking up 2 girls that he doesn't know and walking with them towards the light, towards a potential brighter future. And unfortunately, the Blisters and Bedrock flashback cheapens this scene. Instead of a man just holistically coming to terms with what he has done and deciding to pick a better future for 2 children that he doesn't know, he's actually just on the hook. This is something he had to do anyway because he made a promise. I also find it sort of ridiculous that in those 3 episodes there is no mention that Vander has ever told Violet or Powder about their mother, about the fact that they were friends. But beyond that, the character that this really doesn't work for is Silco. In Season 1 Episode 3, Silco is absolutely hellbent on murdering all of the children, including Violet, who he would know is the daughter of his best friend. It also doesn't make any sense that he'd be criticizing Vander for taking in these children and insulting him about it if he knows the reason he's doing it is because he's on the hook. And you have to remember, Silco is not just an evil doer, he has very conscious reasoning behind his actions. More than anything, Silco respects people with large ambitions. He respects people that are willing to die for the cause, that are willing to fight for the cause. And you really mean to tell me he would now disrespect one of his best friends who died for the cause by trying to murder her children? Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't really make sense. Beyond that, when he turns the corner and sees Powder for the first time, he doesn't seem to know her. He just says, "Hello, little girl." He doesn't seem shocked to be seeing a familiar face. He doesn't give any emotional response indicative of that he knows who this is. I've also seen countless people make the argument that the reason Powder jumps into Silco's arms is because she's familiar with him. But if that's the case, why on earth would he be so shocked when she does it? And if he truly did know who she was, he would immediately try to leverage the fact that she's familiar with him. Silco's entire arc that he goes through in Season 1 is a reflection of what Vander goes through in the first episode. It is a man coming to terms with the costs of his ambition. A man choosing to father a child that he does not know and growing as an individual because of their adopted child and adopted love. And I believe the Blisters and Bedrock scene retcons a lot of this because it sums up all of their complex journeys into they were just on the hook the whole time anyway. This wasn't something they chose out of their own free will, out of the goodness of their hearts. It's they promised something, they were on the hook and they just had to do it to keep their word. So like many other scenes in Arcane Season 2, I believe Blisters and Bedrock to unfortunately be indicative of a writing team that did not care what came before it and just cared about telling the story they wanted to tell, not the story that the show wanted to tell. Just so unfortunate.